The sky churned, lightning flashed, illuminating the dark, ominous clouds that gathered like a brewing storm of conflict. The heavens seemed to mirror the tension on the ground, as if nature itself was aware of the impending clash. Thunder echoed across the Serbian plains, a foreboding symphony that played in the background of a world on the brink of war. The vast fields, usually serene, now felt like the stage for an epic confrontation. Inside a dimly lit briefing room, Lieutenant Colonel Darrell Zelko, call sign Papa Bear, sat with his squadron. The room was filled with the low hum of whispered conversations and the rustling of maps. Tactical maps covered the walls, each one a testament to the meticulous planning that had gone into this mission. Tension crackled in the air, thicker than the storm outside. Every face in the room was etched with a mixture of determination and anxiety. Nervous glances were exchanged, each man silently acknowledging the gravity of the situation. This was no ordinary mission. The stakes were higher than ever before. Each pilot knew that tonight's operation could change the course of the conflict. The intensity in the room was palpable, a shared understanding that failure was not an option. Tonight, they were going into harm's way. The preparations were meticulous, each movement deliberate. Pilots checked their gear, ensuring everything was in place. The weight of their mission pressed down on them, but they moved with the precision of seasoned warriors. Their target, the heart of Serbia. The map displayed the strategic points they needed to hit, each one crucial to the success of their mission. The heart of the enemy's territory lay before them, a daunting challenge that they were ready to face. The briefing officer's pointer danced across a map, highlighting key locations and potential threats. His voice was steady, each word carefully chosen to convey the importance of their task. The room hung on his every word, absorbing the details of the plan. He spoke in clipped tones, outlining the mission parameters. Every detail was crucial, every piece of information a potential lifesaver. The pilots listened intently, their minds racing as they visualized the mission ahead. Every man in the room knew the stakes. NATO was at war. Serbia was the enemy. The weight of this reality settled over them, a heavy reminder of the responsibility they bore. They were not just fighting for themselves, but for their comrades, their countries, and the ideals they stood for. And they were the tip of the spear, the first line of offense in a conflict that could reshape the region. Their readiness was a testament to their training and their resolve. They were prepared to face whatever lay ahead. The mood was somber, professional. Each man was lost in his thoughts, contemplating the mission and the risks involved. The camaraderie among them was unspoken but deeply felt, a bond forged in the crucible of shared experiences and mutual respect. They were warriors, prepared to face death in the night. Zelko listened intently, his mind sharp and focused. He knew the importance of every detail, every instruction. His experience had taught him that in the chaos of battle, it was the small things that could make the difference between life and death. He was a seasoned pilot, a veteran of Desert Storm. His experience was a source of strength for his squadron. They looked to him for guidance, trusting in his leadership and his ability to navigate the challenges ahead. But this mission felt different. The Serbs were determined. They had shown their resilience time and again, and tonight would be no different. The enemy was prepared, and the risks were higher than ever. They had already proven their resilience. The Serbian forces were known for their tenacity and their ability to adapt. This was not going to be an easy mission, but Zelko and his men were ready to face the challenge head-on, and tonight they would be waiting. The anticipation was a heavy burden, but it was also a source of motivation. They knew what was at stake, and they were prepared to give everything they had to ensure the success of their mission. The weight of responsibility sat heavy on his shoulders. Zelko felt the pressure of command, the knowledge that the lives of his men depended on his decisions. It was a burden he bore with pride. Knowing that he was leading some of the finest pilots in the world, he was responsible for his men, for his aircraft, for the success of the mission. Every detail had to be perfect, every plan meticulously executed. The success of the mission depended on their ability to work together, to trust in each other and in their training. Failure was not an option. The stakes were too high, the consequences too dire. As they prepared to embark on their mission, each man knew that they were part of something bigger than themselves. They were warriors, ready to face the storm and emerge victorious. The F-117 Nighthawk, a marvel of modern engineering, it was a revolutionary aircraft that changed the face of aerial combat forever. Designed with stealth in mind, it was the first operational aircraft to be designed around stealth technology. Its unique shape and radar-absorbent materials made it nearly invisible to enemy radar, earning it the nickname the Invisible Warrior. The Nighthawk was a product of years of research and development, a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of technological advancement. Every inch of its design was meticulously crafted to minimize its radar cross-section, making it a ghost in the sky. A whisper in the night, the Nighthawk could slip through enemy defenses undetected, striking with precision and disappearing without a trace. It was a weapon of stealth, a phantom of war. Its angular shape, designed to deflect radar signals, made it a ghost in the sky. The aircraft's flat surfaces and sharp edges scattered radar waves, preventing them from returning to the enemy's radar receivers. This innovative design was a game-changer in aerial warfare. The F-117 was not just an aircraft. It was a symbol of technological superiority and strategic advantage. It was a weapon of stealth, a phantom of war, capable of delivering devastating blows to the enemy while remaining unseen. Zelko ran his hand along the cool skin of his aircraft, feeling the smooth, almost alien surface. He knew every inch of this machine, every panel and rivet. It was more than just a piece of technology, it was an extension of himself. He felt a surge of pride, of confidence. This was his bird, his mission. He had trained for this moment, and he was ready. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but it was a burden he was proud to bear. He strapped himself into the cockpit and went through his pre-flight checks with practiced precision. Every switch, every dial, every system was checked and rechecked. There was no room for error. The instruments flickered to life, bathing him in an eerie green glow. The hum of the electronics was a comforting sound, a reminder of the advanced technology at his fingertips. The Nighthawk was a demanding mistress, requiring constant attention and skill to operate. But in her embrace, he felt invincible. The bond between pilot and machine was unbreakable, but in her embrace, he felt invincible. The bond between pilot and machine was unbreakable. He trusted the Nighthawk with his life, and she had never let him down. The engines roared to life, a deep guttural growl that sent vibrations through the cockpit. It was a sound that filled him with a sense of power and purpose. The Nighthawk was ready for action. He taxied to the runway, the rain beating down on the canopy. The weather was harsh, but it was just another challenge to overcome. The Nighthawk was built to handle anything. The Nighthawk lifted into the air, disappearing into the storm clouds. It was as if the darkness had swallowed it whole. The aircraft became one with the night, a silent predator on the prowl. It was as if the darkness had swallowed it whole. The Nighthawk was now a part of the night, an invisible force moving through the sky with deadly intent. Zelko engaged the stealth systems, activating the advanced technology that would make him invisible to enemy radar. The aircraft's systems hummed in response, cloaking it in an electronic shroud of invisibility. On enemy radar screens, he would be nothing more than a blip, a phantom echo. The Nighthawk's stealth capabilities were unmatched, allowing it to slip through enemy defenses undetected. He was invisible, a ghost in the machine. The enemy would never see him coming, and by the time they realized he was there, it would be too late. His mission: penetrate Serbian airspace, deliver his payload, and return unseen. It was a dangerous task, but one he was prepared for. The Nighthawk was his weapon, and he was its master. Together they would strike fear into the hearts of the enemy and change the course of the conflict. Deep in the Serbian countryside, where the night is often punctuated by the distant howls of wolves and the rustling of leaves in the wind, a different kind of tension filled the air. The serene landscape, with its rolling hills and scattered farmhouses, belied the storm brewing both in the sky and in the hearts of the men stationed there. Inside a dimly lit military base, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Lieutenant Colonel Zoltan Dani, a seasoned officer with years of experience under his belt, was at the helm. His presence commanded respect and instilled a sense of calm among his men, even as the storm outside grew fiercer. As a battery commander in the Serbian Air Defense Force, Dani was no stranger to high-stakes situations. His eyes, sharp and focused, were glued to the radar screen in front of him. Every blip, every flicker, was a potential threat that needed to be assessed with precision. The radar screen, usually a source of clarity, was now a canvas of confusion. The storm interfered with the signal, creating a chaotic dance of light and shadow. Each flash of lightning outside seemed to echo on the screen, adding to the complexity of the situation. The interference was relentless, but Dani was undeterred. He had faced worse, and had always come out on top. The storm was just another challenge, another puzzle to solve. His mind worked tirelessly, filtering out the noise, focusing on what truly mattered. The chaotic dance of light and shadow on the radar screen was almost mesmerizing. But Dani was a patient man, a skilled operator who had honed his craft over years of dedicated service. He had learned to read the radar like a blind man reading Braille, feeling his way through the static and interference to find the truth hidden within. His patience was his greatest asset. While others might have been overwhelmed by the storm's interference, Dani remained calm and collected. He knew that panic would only cloud his judgment, and in this line of work, clear thinking was essential. The P-18 radar system, a relic from the Soviet era, was his tool of choice. Though considered obsolete by NATO standards, Dani had a deep understanding of its capabilities. He had spent countless hours studying its intricacies, learning its strengths and weaknesses. His unit was equipped with the P-18 radar, a system that many would have dismissed as outdated. But Dani saw potential where others saw obsolescence. He had modified it, tweaked it, pushed it beyond its intended capabilities. His hands had worked tirelessly, turning the old equipment into a formidable tool of defense. The modifications he made were not just technical adjustments, they were a testament to his ingenuity and resourcefulness. He believed in his equipment, in his men, and in his country's will to resist. Each tweak, each adjustment, was a step towards ensuring their safety and success. Dani's confidence in his equipment was matched only by his faith in his team. They were a tight-knit group, bound by a shared sense of duty and a deep-seated patriotism. They knew the stakes were high, but they also knew they were prepared for whatever came their way. The storm outside was a reminder of the chaos that could erupt at any moment. But inside the base there was a sense of order, a sense of purpose. They were the guardians of the night, the watchers in the dark. The storm raged on, a symphony of wind and rain, but they remained steadfast. Suddenly a faint anomaly appeared on the screen. It was almost imperceptible, a tiny blip that could easily be dismissed as interference. But Dani was not fooled. He had seen this before in training simulations and in real-life encounters. He knew what it meant. The Americans, with their advanced stealth technology, were trying to slip past his defenses, but Dani was ready. He had trained for this moment, had prepared his men for this very scenario. The storm outside was nothing compared to the storm within, the battle of wits and technology that was about to unfold. As the wind howled and the rain lashed against the windows, Dani's mind was a fortress of calm. He issued orders with precision, his voice steady and unwavering. His men responded with the same level of focus and determination, their training kicking in as they prepared to face the unseen enemy. The storm raged on, but inside the base there was a different kind of storm brewing, a storm of strategy, of skill, of unwavering resolve. Dani and his men were ready to face whatever came their way, their eyes on the storm, their hearts steeled for the battle ahead. The night was long and the challenges were many, but Dani knew that with patience, skill and determination they would prevail. The storm was just another obstacle, another test of their resolve. And as the wind howled and the rain poured, they stood firm, ready to defend their land, their people, and their honor. The faint anomaly on the radar screen was a reminder of the ever-present threat, but it was also a testament to their vigilance. They were the guardians of the night, the watchers in the dark, and they would not be caught off guard. A flicker, a blip. It was almost imperceptible, easily dismissed as interference. But Dani was not fooled. He had seen this before in training simulations and in real-life encounters. He knew what it meant. The Americans, with their stealth technology, were trying to slip past his defenses. But Dani was ready. He had seen this before in training simulations. He knew what it meant. The Americans, with their stealth technology, were trying to slip past his defenses. But Dani was ready. He had seen this before in training simulations. He knew what it meant. The Americans, with their stealth technology, were trying to slip past his defenses. But Dani was ready. He knew what it meant. The Americans, with their stealth technology, were trying to slip past his defenses. But Dani was ready. The Americans, with their stealth technology, were trying to slip past his defenses. But Dani was ready. He watched the blip, tracking its movement. It was slow, deliberate, like a predator stalking its prey. Dani waited for the optimal moment. He had one chance, one shot. He would not waste it. He alerted his men, his voice calm but firm. The air crackled with anticipation. The blip moved closer, growing stronger. Dani held his breath, his finger hovering over the launch button. Then in a split second, he acted. The ground shook as the missile roared into the sky, leaving a trail of fire and smoke in its wake. It was a missile from a bygone era, a defiant roar against the technological might of the enemy. Dani watched the missile's trajectory on the radar screen, his heart pounding in his chest. He had done his duty. He had defended his country. Now it was up to fate. He knew the odds were stacked against him, but even if this was his last stand, he would make them pay for every inch of Serbian sky.